Hello one, hello all, it's the most Valentine ghost of them all, Caspa in the flesh, and it's time for a review of Tate McRae, Think Later. Tate McRae is a Canadian pop artist, and this is her sophomore album. Her first album, I Used to Think I Could Fly, while not as egregious as a listen as this here, I still feel it lacked personality, extremely bland, and now she's back. And this album right here is worse. Much worse, actually. And a massive downgrade from a debut that was pretty mid to begin with. But God, this is worse. Much worse. Much worse. For one, the vocals are so dolled up to a point where they sound like AI. And I'm not really a fan of the Goo Goo Gaga style vocals, which on this album is very inescapable, and it's giving me PTSD of that god-awful Tones and I album, Welcome to the Madhouse. And I truly and honestly don't need something that sounds like a robotic, touched-up version of that. And speaking of AI, the production is so bland, and I say AI because it sounds like a clusterfuck of bygone cliches from the 2000s mixed with YouTube style production with the weak ass trap drums. Yeah, can't forget the weak ass trap drums. And on top of that, this thing is so devoid of originality. Where's the originality? I'm looking for the originality because it's not here. And I want it. Because all I'm getting is rehashes of worst versions of chart-topping singles from Billboard from the 2000s. Or even recent. There's the title track, where the snare is so dry. And not only that, but you cannot tell me that she didn't just pull the melody from Sam Smith's and Kim Petras' Unholy. You cannot tell me she didn't do that, because it sounds insanely identical. And Sam, as much as they've been accused of stealing, they actually might have a case here where they've actually had their melody stolen from them. And the lyrics say, "Think later, I do it so well." If you're applying that to stealing melodies and getting away with it, I would think sooner. And there's also Guilty Conscience, where she pulls from Rihanna's Umbrella. You can't tell me she didn't. And we already have Nelly Furtado's Promiscuous Girl. And now we have a flavorless Bizarro version with the track Greedy. And what's even worse is the pretentiousness she just throws on this track with like, you want me? Well, I would want me too. While simultaneously telling this person she would put them through hell. I mean, with as much as a torture this album is, I would have to believe her. Especially with the numerous grating, repetitious hooks that are on this album. Run for the hills, run for the hills, with you, with you, with you, with you. Or this one right here. This is what would happen if Olivia Rodrigo decided to go back, do Guts, but do it in the most flavorless, blandest, most unadventurous way possible, with the most annoying vocal chops she could possibly conjure up. Minus the humor, minus the wit, minus the passion, compelling vocals, cheeky vocals, and songwriting. Just meh. Because honestly, she does sound like she is talking about something that's personal to her, but the lyrics are so vapid and the production is so bland and uninteresting, it's very hard for me to care, honestly. And it would appear here the lyrics do mean something to her. I mean, it does sound like it's coming from a sincere place, I guess, but when the vocals are this bad, the production is this bad, you're doing a bad job at selling it, which makes it really, really hard for me to care. And why is the mixing so bad in the production for a lot of these tracks, especially on Graves? Like on the back end, where we're getting these hideously distorted, ghostly keys. And the acoustic bits are even more boring, just dreamt in reverb, and a majority of the vocals on here are so hideous. They're so touched up, they sound almost alien, like alien AI. Like if you wanted to get a goo goo gaga style alien vocal and just throw that on here and just doll it to shit. This is it. This is what you get. Like, what the fuck? This sounds like a whitewashed version of SZA's Nobody Gets Me off her SOS album. And there's also X's that has as much spice as a fucking bell pepper. Like, there's literally nothing interesting or compelling to me about this album. The ballads are drab, sleep-inducing. The songs that are going for bangers don't bang at all. In fact, they make me want to bang my head against the wall based on how annoying and derivative they are. And look, I'm into love stories. I'm even open to toxicity being brought into the mix, as long as it's emotionally compelling, as long as it's interesting, as long as it drags me in. But this album makes me want to be dragged away, away from this album. And lyrically, nothing is keeping me on the edge of my seat. At all. So yeah, the singing is awful. It's way overproduced for me to feel anything on here. I'm just gonna call it right here. I'm feeling a 0 on this album. Yes, a 0. But hey, it's my opinion. What did you think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? And why? That's it. Caspa, Gothic Ghost, Tate McRae, Think Later. Till we meet again.